Hi fairies, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Fifi. It's so nice to have you here. I hope you stay a while. In this video, we are basically going to be doing and talking about all things bookish. I've been seeing a lot of these type of videos going around for so long and I'm excited to finally be doing one of my own for the first time. So let me know what you think about it. But yeah, we're going to be starting off by talking about my February reads, all the books that I read in February. This is going to be very quick, very snappy, one or two sentences long because we don't have time for too much. The first book I read in the month of February actually started on the last day of January. We Were Never Friends by Kara Rauda. This is a very interesting thriller that follows a group of people who were friends when they were younger, and something dramatic, something tragic happened, and now they are brought back together and something tragic happens again. When I first started this book, I really liked the writing, was a little bit lyrical, and I was like, oh, this is going to be so good, so spooky, so thrilling. And it just turned out to be so silly and outlandish and like senseless almost. It was just a little too silly, quirky for me. It was just so tropey and stereotypical. I didn't jive with it whatsoever. I did give it 2.75 stars. Honestly, it's more like a 2.5 or even a 2 star because I really don't get. Then I listened to a novella, an audiobook arc given to me by NetGalley, Lonely Hearts Day by Casey West. This was a very interesting book. It's a high school rom-com following two best friends. It's basically surrounding Valentine's Day and the concept of Valentine's Day, especially as a single person who doesn't necessarily believe or want to believe in the idea of love. Obviously, they end up falling in love. I actually quite like this. It was so surprising to me, especially as a YA novella. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. I really think I would have enjoyed this as a full book. It gave so much more character depth than I would have expected. And the story was just really good in my opinion, especially for what it was. I gave it 3 stars, but honestly, if it was a full book with the same trajectory, I would have given it like 4 stars, which is crazy because I am not a huge romance fan, especially YA romance. Then I read another arc, The Resistance Knitting Club by Jenny O'Brien. The premise of this book before I went into it was so enticing to me. I was so intrigued by, the connotations of womanhood and friendship and community and the art of quiet resistance. But unfortunately, it didn't quite land. It became a romance and a weird romance that I generally did not enjoy. Yes, there was a lot that went into it. It is a historical fiction, so we were hit with a lot of historical facts, I would assume. And yeah, it was okay, but like it just kept going to this place and that place, and nothing really stuck, nothing really landed as well as it should have, or as well as I would have liked it to. And it just overall felt like a disappointment because I really had high hopes for it. So I gave it 2.75 stars. Yeah. Then you guessed it, I listened to another audiobook arc, An Unconventional Lady by Sarah E. Ladd. All those people that keep saying, oh, if you don't like contemporary romance, if you don't like romance, read historical romance books, like they know what they are talking about because this was my first real historical romance, like a book that is actually a historical romance. And I completely ate it up. I thought it was so freaking good. I love the writing. I love the audiobook narrator. I love the characters. I love how they came together, and I love the background plot. Like everything came together so beautifully, and I just had the best time with it. Honestly, I always eat up feminist integration in books, especially when they are set in a backwards time period. So I really did love it in this book. And overall, it wasn't anything necessarily special. I can't lie; it wasn't the most unique or profound thing ever, but it just hit me in a way that I did not expect, and I really really liked it. I would love to read more of this author's work. I gave this book 4 stars, but honestly, like 4.25, 4.5, I don't know. I really, really liked it, honestly. Then I read a book that I have been meaning to get to for so freaking long, Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wong. This is a high fantasy slash sci-fi novel. I completely ate this up. I have a full video, like almost over 30 minutes long, reading just this book. So I'm not going to talk about it at all. Just know that it was so freaking good. In my personal opinion, I've seen some very conflicting things. I can't lie, and I can resonate and understand where some of those people are coming from. But this book just hit me in a way that I did not expect. I just connected to it on a much deeper level than I expected, and it just resonated with me completely. The plot, the characters, how everything came together. The writing was so polished and clean, in my opinion. And yeah, I love it so much. Spoiler, I give that book 5 stars, my first 5 star of 2026. But you still have to go and check that video out because I put a lot into it. Then I went back to my Midas arcs. I listened to Without a Clue by Melissa Ferguson. This is a rom-com mystery novel of sorts. I thought it was cute. It was definitely very fun. Definitely something that I needed at the time. It was just a little too silly, too quirky, and like I said, I'm not a huge fan of books that are just overly quirky and like millennial. I don't even know what to call it. Like it's just like doing too much and nothing at the same time. I found this book highly predictable, and I thought it was just a little too basic. But I did enjoy it, so I give it 3.25 stars. Honestly, it's more like a 3 star, maybe a 2.75. No shade. The next arc I read, The Summer of Lost and Found by Tony Blake. This was a very interesting book. It started off really well in my opinion. I was really liking it for the first 20%. I loved how it felt like more of a women's fiction, basically following this woman as her life basically falls apart after having cancer, and then she goes on this retreat basically to this small town. I liked the main character. I resonated with her. I thought she was very real. Where the book started to falter for me was when the male main character was introduced. I just didn't like him. He was kind of misogynistic, but also like I don't know. He was just very brute and rash, and it just wasn't for me honestly. After she meets him, it starts to form more of a contemporary romance type of plot, and I just wasn't feeling it. I did really like the friendship aspects and the found family that we were given within this book. I love that our main character was able to find pockets of happiness and love and friendship aside from this weird ass man. I think the strongest thing about this book was the writing. I thought it was very beautiful and very lyrical and evocative, but it just generally ended up falling a little bit flat for me. I gave it 3.5 stars, a solid book, enjoyable in the moment, but nothing particularly, memorable. Then I listened to yet another arc from NetGalley, but this one was actually really good. The Trident and the Pearl by Sarah K.L. Wilson. This is a romantasy, but honestly, generally it's more of a fantasy romance than an actual romantasy. It was one of the best fantasy romance books that I have read in recent times. The writing was gorgeous, atmospheric, literally takes you away. You're just flowing along with it. The prose was very lyrical. While the world building was a little bit conflicting and a bit all over the place, the plot was generally very intentional and comes together to form and give you something very much substantial. The characters I really, really liked, especially our female main character. She was very strong and strong-willed and confident, but still very much flawed and insecure. And I loved how there was a very good balance of all those different aspects of her person. I also really like the male main character, and I love their slow burn romance. And when I say slow burn, I do mean slow burn, okay? I felt like the characters spent a little too much time apart from each other throughout the book, and that was like my main gripe with this book. I did reach out to the author, telling her how much I love the book and how I would love for the characters to literally be joined at the hip for the next book because I can't take it. Like I need them literally joined at the hip, and she was like, "Girl, got you. Like I got you. Like I am so excited for the second book." I gave this book 4.25 stars. It was really, really good in my opinion. It just didn't have that wow factor for it to be a 4.75 or like a 5 star. But I really, really enjoyed it. And like I said, I cannot wait for the second book. Then another arc I listened to, The Moctezuma Girls by Sophia Robleda. This was a very interesting book, a historical, fantastical fiction which takes a lot of facts from the Moctezuma girls that are real people from Mexico in the 1500s. I really liked it. It was very engaging, fast paced, interesting. I loved the adventure aspect of it. I loved the humanity aspect of it. I loved how the deeper things were tackled with such intricate understanding and empathy, and I love how everything came together. I do think some of the plot lines with the adventures were a little too outlandish. Like, what are you talking about? These are 16-year-olds. Are you really telling me they did all this? I'm not quite sure. Also, these are 16-year-olds that are supposed to be in the 1500s. So why were they talking like Gen Z people? Like it was very weird to me. But generally I think it was a very solid book. I would love to read more of this author's work. I really like her writing, and I think she has a very strong voice and definitely knows what she's doing. This book in particular just wasn't my favorite thing ever, so I gave it 8.75 stars. Then I read The Saturday Plays by Alice Peterson. This was a very mundane book, basically following a bunch of characters who meet in this Saturday cafe and form a friendship and relationship that heals all of them. And it was very beautiful. It was cute, it was sweet. It was just very mid in my opinion. It didn't really have much to offer me. It didn't give me anything that I could necessarily hold on to. It just felt a little bit like a a little bit all over the place, but also like giving me nothing substantial. I thought it was sweet and cute and wholesome at the end, but it was just generally kind of boring. in my opinion. So I give it 3.25 stars. Honestly, it's more like a 3 star. I don't know. Then I read The Last Honest Woman by Nora Roberts. This was a very interesting book. It's basically following this woman whose husband dies. He was a very popular race car driver. So we have this author who comes to basically get information from her about him so he can write a biography, and they go on to form a romantic relationship. And it was cute. It was okay. Like, it was more than I expected it to be, honestly, but it was still very much lackluster. This book was first published in 1988, so it was definitely a product of its time. There were some misogynistic and sexist undertones, especially coming from the male main character's point of view. So I did love that. But generally, I thought it was an okay book. Like, I enjoyed it for what it was. I was very much engrossed throughout reading it, even though it wasn't giving me anything necessarily amazing. The main character of this book is a triplet, and apparently this is a series that follows all her sisters. So I would be interested in checking, some of the other books out. It just wasn't necessarily special. I give it like 3.5 stars or 3.75. Then I listened to The Fox Hunts by Caitlin Breeze. I honestly would not even be able to tell you what this book is about. Just know that it's a fantasy. It's a very intriguing fantasy novel with a world that is just so warped and unreliable. I started off this book thinking it was a romantasy, and I was like, oh, things are moving too quickly. This is like Insta Losty. And it was, for sure. Around the 20-30% mark though, it took a whole different turn that I didn't necessarily expect, and it just made me like it a lot more. I think this was a very, very unique read. I really enjoyed the writing too. It was very lyrical and almost poetic in a way. I ended up really liking it so much more than I expected, giving it 4 stars. I think it was a very, very solid book, and I would love to read more of this author's work. So yeah, those are all the books that I read in the month of February. 12 books. I'm really proud of myself for that. I guess that's all for now. I will see you guys in the next portion of this video. Before we move on though, I wanted to tell you guys the book that I am currently reading, The Library of Amorlin by Kaylin Josephson. I have read 2 other books by this author. I read her Storm Crow duology, I think last year. I gave the first book 3.25 stars or 3.5 stars, and then I gave the second book 3.75 stars. So I wasn't like the biggest fan, but I saw that she had a new book coming out, and I was like, okay, let's try this again. And I applied and got granted the ARC for this book. So I started it. Basically, this book is following Kasira, a former con artist who was imprisoned for 20 years. In exchange for her freedom, though, she makes a deal with this ambassador of her kingdom to infiltrate the library of Amorlin and find out about the head librarian and what he's hiding so they can take him down. Obviously, like any romantasy, they will end up falling in love, but I do like how slow burn this already seems to be. Initially, I was like, why is this library so important? Like, who really gives a fuck? Like, why is like a whole ambassador of a kingdom trying to infiltrate it, to take it down? Like, what is the essence of this library? But then you find out why the library is that important, and find out that it basically holds the balance of the entire world. To be honest, I am currently not the biggest fan of this book. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it. I just think it's a little too typical. It's reading like any other romantasy and every other romantasy that I have read. It's not really giving me anything necessarily special. The writing is well enough, very clean, very polished, very simple, but still with enough hard hitting lines. Our main character Kasira is, deep enough, and I do like how layered her character seems to be. The main character, I really don't have any feelings for at all right now. I don't know how to feel about him. Actually, I kind of don't know how to feel about him because he's over 100 years old. Our main character is, I think, 20 something. So I'm already like, what the fuck? Like, why do authors do this? Like, why is this such a huge thing in fantasy books? Like, why can't they just be around the same age? Like, why does the male main character always have to be like 100 and something? Like, he has been living. Yes, I know he's been preserved by the magic of this library, but like, it's still weird as fuck. Like, he has lived 100 years. Also, for somebody that has lived 100 years, he's acting a little too like childish and a little too, I don't know. He's not acting like somebody that has lived 100 years, that's for sure. So yeah, I'm not connecting to anything necessarily. I'm just intrigued enough, and I want to find out, where this is going, what comes of all this. 40% into it, I can already tell that it's not going to be anything necessarily special or outstanding for me personally. It's definitely not going to be a 5 star. Probably won't even be a 4 star, and that's sad because I did put off another arc I was reading to focus on this one. So yeah, it's sad, but what can you do? All right, let's talk about our bookish goals. First, our February bookish goals. Let's see how I did. I had 7 goals in February. The first one was to finish at least 2 series I'm in the middle of. I did not do that. I'm so freaking bad at continuing series. It's actually so annoying and upsetting. But yeah, my second goal was to read at least 10 books. I did do that. I read 12 books in the month of February. I'm very proud of myself for that. The third goal was to cross off a spot on my book bingo, and I did do that. Thank God. I'm sure you already saw that by now. Another goal was to fully highlight at least one book. I did do that. I think that book was The Saturday Place. I also fully highlighted the ebook of Blood Over Bright Haven on my iPad. So yeah, have at least one intentional reading day. I did that. I did that multiple times actually. Read at least 2 books from my 26 of 2026 TBR. I'm so bad. I'm so bad at all these curated things. I really need to like lock in. I plan to, okay, bear with me. The final goal was to fully outline the book that I am writing. I did not do that. It's actually so bad. I'm actually so mad at myself. But like, I don't have time these days. It's so bad. I can't even do anything. Anyway, I did 4 of my 7 bookish goals for February, which is not too bad, honestly, above average. So thank God. But I plan to like really lock in this month. It's actually already almost the middle of the month, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm actually keeping to that plan already, which is upsetting and sad. But yeah, my March bookish goals are actually the exact same as the February bookish goals. I really just want to like get a routine of a sort. The only thing I did was change the final goal, which is fully outline my book. I changed it to make any advancement whatsoever on my book. It's so funny, but like I just hope I'm able to do something at least. And then I added one other goal, which was to read at least 2 arcs and send in the reviews. And I have already done that, so praise be. So yeah, those are my bookish goals for February and March. Let me know what some of your bookish goals are for this month or maybe even next month or the year in general. I'll see you in the next section of this video. Hi babes, it's been days, but I wanted to give you an update on what I am reading. I was reading Reading Shaw. I am still reading it technically. I'm about 30% into it, but I think I'm going to put it to the side for now because honestly, it's not doing anything for me, and it's making me so sad and so upset because it's one of my most anticipated releases of 2026, and I'm just not feeling anything. I can't bring myself to care about anything. It just feels so boring right now, and can't I can't. I literally have been reading like a page or two a day for the past 4 days when I usually read like 2 books in 4 days. So that is obviously very evident of how much I am not liking it. Honestly, it's either I'm entering a book slump or this book is bad. It's probably both, but I don't have time or energy for a book slump. To catch said book slump before it gets any further, I started a TBR takedown reading vlog where I read my 5-star predictions. And so I started The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood. I have such high hopes for this book. I am so excited for it. I think it's going to be so freaking good. I think it's going to pull me from the eye line of this book slump before it's able to get its hands on me. So I'm really, really excited. It's definitely a thick one, okay? I'm kind of scared, but also really excited because the chapters are quite short. I am only on page 8 right now, so I don't have much to say. I don't have anything to say actually, and I don't think I will even tell you much about this book in this video. Like I said, I'm filming a reading vlog, so go and check that out. I don't know if it'll be out by the time this one is out, so either way, stay tuned. I'm kind of nervous about how much faith I have in this book because I feel like that's setting myself up for failure, but I want to keep the faith. For my mental health, I need to keep the faith. So yeah, I'm bubbling with excitement about the book. That feels better than literally anything right now. Thank God. So let's talk about my digital book journal. I've always loved the idea of a book journal and I wanted to start one, a physical one. But I just know that if I do start it, I want to go all in and I want to really, really go for it. And to do that, I'm going to have to spend so much money and I don't have the funds for that right now. So I was like, why not just do a digital planner? There's literally nothing wrong with that. It's almost the same thing. It's even more efficient and requires less clutter and is, more affordable. So I found a book journal. I'm going to link the page of the person that I got it from, and I'll try and link the journal itself down below if you're interested. I really like this one because it's very simple yet effective. Some of the others that I saw were like kind of a lot, but this one feels very easy to work with. So I'm really enjoying it. I've spent the last couple of days working on it. So I use the app Notability on my iPad. So here is my reading journal. It has 32 pages right now. When I first got it, it had about 100 and something pages. But honestly, I had to take most of them out because they were overwhelming me and they weren't very useful for me personally. So yeah, I think this one is more curated to me and my goals and what I want for myself right now. So this is the title page, as I've said, and then we have the book library. These are all the books that I have read so far in the year 2026. I've read about 22 books, and I'm very proud of myself for that because my reading goal is 100 books, and we're already a quarter way or almost a quarter way there. So yeah, we have more pages for the rest of the books that I'll be reading this year. And then we have my physical TBR list, okay, list of the books that I have physically that I am yet to read. I am filming a vlog series where I tackle most of these books and actually get my physical TBR down by a lot. I think I have one video out so far and I'm currently filming the second, so go and check that out and stay tuned. But I've only read 3 books so far. Actually, I'm in the middle of reading the third book, which is The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood. So yeah, that's just it. I really like the look of this. It's just very simple and very fitting for what I want right now. And yeah, I think it's cute, honestly. Our next page is my favorite books of 2026 so far. I can't lie, I haven't had too many like really, really good books. These are just the standouts. And honestly, I could say like only 3 of these are actually like some of my favorite books that I have read in my life. We have had only one 5-star, as you can see, Blood Over Bright Haven, and another book that I really love, The Trident and the Pearl. But the rest, honestly, are really good and I did really enjoy them, but they could become quite forgettable. But yeah, this is what my favorite books are looking like so far. Then we have a page for my books of each month of the year 2026. In January, my book was God Tokens by Emily Bellman. Honestly, I'm not too sure. I didn't have that many like amazing books in January, so this was just the one I went with. I liked it, I enjoyed it. Do I think it's the best thing ever? Obviously not, and I didn't connect to it as much as I would have liked to, but it was a really nice, epic story, and I am very intrigued and interested in continuing the series. So, yeah, that was my book for January, and then February, obviously, my only 5-star that I have gotten so far this year, and in February was Blood Over Bright Haven. I love that book so much. I still think about it daily. I'm very interested in seeing what my favorite book for this month will be because so far I've only had mid-ass books. Considering I read 12 books in February and it's currently the 15th of March and I've only read 2 books, yeah, I think a book slump is at hand, unfortunately. So the next page is my DNF list, okay, books that I DNF'd this year. So far, I have DNF'd only 2 books. Both of them were ARCs. The first one was Veilmark by Haley Purcell. And the reason I DNF'd it was because there was grooming of a sort in the book. From what I have caught on to, it's basically following death and then death's veil, like somebody that works for death. Obviously, death is like centuries old, and she, from when we start this book, is 11, and they meet around when she's 13 or so. So immediately I was like, oh no 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 no, like I'm sorry, I just can't. I recently read The Library of Amorlin, and the male main character was over 100 years old and the female main character was like 20 something, and I'm like, why is that necessary? I really don't get it and I don't understand the appeal. It's just weird as hell, especially when the male main character, being over 100 years old, doesn't talk or act like somebody that has lived literal centuries, like and then I DNF'd Weaving Shaw by Heba Al-Wasiti because it was just kind of boring. Honestly, I think it's a bit of a soft DNF. I do think I might get back to it because it was one of my most anticipated reads of 2026. And I don't know, I was just bored, honestly. I think it has a lot to do with the upcoming book slump. But I just wasn't feeling it at the time. So maybe I will go back to it, who knows. The next page is for my 2025 reading goals as well as my book bingo. So these are some of my goals. I've talked about all this in my reset video for 2026. So I will link that somewhere if you're interested. But yeah, these are my goals and some of the reading habits I would like to, adhere to this year. As far as my 2026 book bingo, I think I've gotten quite far and I'm really enjoying it. I have a book with a one-word title, Lily. I have featuring a strong FMC, The Library of Amolin. I didn't love that book, honestly. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was a little bit forgettable, but I do know and recognize how strong the FMC was. I also got published this year. Honestly, I've read so many books that have been published this year under 200 pages. I really like this Lonely Hearts Day book. It's a YA novella, and for a novella, especially a YA novella, I really, really enjoyed it for what it was. I gave it 3 stars, which is not saying much, but honestly, that's saying much for me, a person that hates romance books, especially YA romance books. Honestly, I don't hate romance books, okay, that's a bit extreme, but I just find them these days, especially, to be kind of grating and annoying and nonsensical and not very fulfilling. Then I read queer lit. Honestly, I'm wondering if queer lit actually means like literary fiction, queer literary fiction, or just queer literature in general. So I just went ahead and put Holy Wrath because it was definitely queer. If I do eventually read an actual queer literary fiction this year, I will switch it out. But for now, I'm going to keep that there. I also read a book by an Asian author, Blood Over Bright Haven by Emma Wong. I really love that book. As I said, 5 stars. I've also gotten an amazing audiobook. Honestly, I've gotten a number of really good audiobooks, especially audiobook arcs that I've been given. This one in particular, though, was just very good. The other Moctezuma Girls. I didn't absolutely love this book. I think I gave it 3.75 stars. I do love the audiobook and the care that was taken into picking out who, narrated the audiobook. Obviously, got tokens for an epic story and by a debut author, Soft Launch by Sarah Vacciano. Another very interesting romance book that I enjoyed more than I thought I would. Honestly, I don't think it's that much of a romance book. I think it's more of a women's fiction. But I really enjoyed it until like the last 20%. So I gave it 3.75 stars or like 4 stars, I'm not sure. But I really enjoyed it and I would love to, look forward to what this author comes out with next. For a debut, it was a really good book. So that's my book bingo for 2026 so far. Then we have a daily reading tracker, you know, every day that I read, I'm going to fill it out. I also have this on Fable, but I think this is just so much more visually appealing for me personally. I think it just looks so like good, honestly, and very much, very much satisfying, to be honest. I think that is, in fact, the last page. I think the rest of these are pages that I'm not sure if I want to keep because they are for series, and I just feel like that's going to take so much energy for me to fill all of these out for all the series that I am in the middle of. But I have left them here because I am trying to make my mind up concerning that. So maybe I guess I'll let you know eventually. That's it for my book journal, my digital book journal. I'm very happy about it, honestly. I'm very proud. It looks so like cute and effortless and simple, and it just scratches my brain in the best possible way. So yeah, again, I will make sure I link it down below. Try to remind me, honestly, if I forget to do that for some reason. But yeah, see you in the next portion of this video. All right, let's talk series. Okay, let me just go ahead and pull up my series tracker. I really like the idea of a series tracker because it just puts things into perspective. I'm one of those people that enjoys making lists. I love having things just physically put down, whether it be digitally or actually written down. But yeah, I'm going to link the page of the person that I got this from down below. Right now, it's no longer free. Unfortunately, you've missed out on that. But I think there's an upgraded version that is available for purchase on Etsy. So I'll link her page down below if you're interested. But yeah, apparently I have 17 series that I am yet to finish. As I said, I'm very, very bad at continuing and finishing series that I am in the middle of. I just keep on reading more and more, and actually that is what I need to do. I need to update and add the series that I have recently started. The first one being The Fisher King. I read the first book in this series called The Trident and the Pearl. I really, really liked it. I gave it 4.25 stars. I thought it was a very, very solid romance, one of my favorite romances in a long time. Then I read the first book in the O'Hurley's series, I believe, by Nora Roberts. Yeah, I enjoyed that book. I enjoyed it more than I thought that I would. I gave it 3.5 stars, I believe, but it wasn't anything necessarily special. I do want to continue the series because I think it's going to be intriguing to read about the rest of the sisters in this family. Then I read the first book in the Age of Beasts series by Kaylin Josephson. The first book is called The Library of Amorlin, and yeah, I didn't love it, honestly. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was kind of mid and just nothing special by any means, but I was intrigued enough to want to continue the series. Then I just recently read an arc called Everything the Sun Touches. I cannot remember the name of the series because I believe it's a duology, so I'm just going to put Everything the Sun Touches here. Later on I'll change it. But I didn't love this book, honestly. I think my favorite part of that book was the found family. I thought the writing was kind of basic and nothing special by any means. I also thought that the dialogue was a bit weird considering, the time that it is supposedly set in. So yeah, that was very interesting to me for sure. Wow, I just realized that I'm really not that good at multitasking. What the I'm like losing my train of thoughts and then losing my ability to literally click buttons. That's insane. All these are still ongoing. I've literally only just read the first in each of these series, but I am up to date, if you will. So thank God I'm not really adding anything new necessarily. There we go. Yeah, love this, honestly. I really just love the look of this series tracker, honestly. It just makes me feel happy. Things like this make me feel very happy. As I've said multiple times now, I'm very bad at continuing series, but fear not, I am going to film a reading vlog very soon of me continuing series that I'm in the middle of. So I'm happy and excited for that because it's been a long time coming. I am excited, honestly, to continue most of these series, but I'm just like, oh my god, there are like 4 books in this series, there are like 5 books. I don't have the time, I don't have the energy. It's just like honestly annoying. Like there's so much to read and literally no time at all. That does bring us to the end of this video, guys. But before I let you go, I wanted to give you an update on my current reads. As you saw, I started this book. I'm still in the middle of it. I'm not loving it. Okay, I really am not. And like I said, I very recently read Everything the Sun Touches. I did not love that book. Okay, I really did not. I thought it was going to be so much better than it actually was, and that was very unfortunate. It was just trying to do too many things at the same time and did not succeed in any of those things. So it was very underwhelming, but I'm intrigued enough to want to continue the series, seeing as it's just a duology. There's just one book coming out, I think, next year. So I gave it 3 stars, nothing to write home about. I genuinely don't think I would even recommend it at all. Then I listened to an audiobook arc, All Booked Up. I enjoyed this book for what it was. Honestly, I think it was just a very middle of the road book. I did enjoy the found family and the relationships that these older women curated within this house that all of them were living in. And I thought it was very cute and wholesome. I did love the like Christian influence and rhetorics in this book. Generally, I think it was a very okay book, a fun-ish time, a palate cleanser, if you will. I gave it 3 stars. It was quite mid. Honestly, this whole year so far has been so freaking mid. Like, I have to say it. I have read about 22 or 23 books so far, and only a handful of them have been, something to really talk about, something to write home about. And it's really upsetting me. The rest of them have just been mid as hell or like plain bad. And why is that so? Why is that so? It's really upsetting me. I'm like, oh girls, like let's talk about it. Actually, let's not talk about it because it's actually going to piss me off. Well, yeah, sorry for that little rant, but thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I talked about in this video, if you would like to, if you saw anything that caught your eye, literally any thoughts about this video whatsoever, talk to me down below. I love reading and replying comments. It's one of my favorite pastimes. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram if you want to be book besties or just besties in general. I would really love and appreciate that. But for now, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.